I'm Bob Colton. We're continuing our conversations in Charlotte Public Schools. A guy who does a lot of things around here. Brent Crossman is with me. Brent, you actually came to talk about a special event that you're kind of coordinating, but first introduce yourself for the folks who might be watching today. Tell people a little bit about yourself and some of the things that you do.
Certainly. My name's Brent Crossman. I'm a teacher here at Charlotte High School. It's my 20th year, and I am the head boys golf coach. I'm the Relay for Life advisor. I'm the department head chair, and I think that's about it.
So talk a little bit about the staff softball relay game. What is it? How'd you come up with the idea? What do you do? How can people get involved?
Certainly. This is our 7th annual Hoopin' for a Cure basketball game.
Hoopin' for a Cure.
Hoopin' for a Cure. And it all got started with the 25th anniversary of my mother surviving breast cancer, and I decided to come up with a fundraising idea of a basketball game where the students play the teachers, and we started that in 2007, and this year is our 7th annual. And we do a variety of things. One of them is we sell t-shirts. We have the students come up with a design every year. This year's design is Never Give Up. And we play a basketball game March 7th, and it is a really fun night in the fact that the freshmen play the teachers first in the first quarter, and then the sophomores play the second quarter. The juniors play the third quarter, and the seniors play the fourth quarter. And we keep the score ongoing, so it makes it for an exciting evening.
That's great.
And then when the game's over, we also have a little concert afterwards in the lobby with a couple of high school bands that also like to participate in the event and help me out also.
So it sounds like a lot of fun for both students and teachers, but you do have this kind of programmed as a fundraiser, and what happens with the money?
Certainly. I'm big into Relay for Life with the American Cancer Society. In 1997, I lost my sister to a brain tumor, and right after that, my family started a Relay for Life team, and ever since, in 2004, I kind of took over the Charlotte High School Relay for Life team when a teacher retired, and I've been doing it ever since, and I'm on the committee of the Relay for Life, and it's just a cause that I'm passionate about, and I'm always looking at ways to raise money, and this is one of those ways. And since 2007, we've raised over about $60,000 for American Cancer Society.
That's fabulous. And so what's the goal this year in the event? Because people can help
certainly
meet the goal.
You bet. Our goal is $10,000. We'd like to raise $10,000. Last year we raised about $8,000. And I like to up it every year just to try to reach a little higher and go a little longer. So our goal is for $10,000, and hopefully we can get to that goal by, again, selling those t-shirts and raising some money for the American Cancer Society and Relay for Life.
Well, hopefully the game will be good. What's the scouting report on the teacher team?
Well, the deal is this. In the 7 years that we've had this event, the teachers have never lost.
They've never lost?
No, they've never lost.
Is that right?
So, yes.
So there's a little ego involved.
Exactly, exactly. Yep, we try to be competitive with them, and they try to be competitive back. But it's a fun event that everybody seems to enjoy, and every year more and more people seem to show up for it and come out to support a great cause.
And really, the more young people you get involved, the more connected they feel to the activity and obviously the whole idea of philanthropy.
Sure. Yep. Exactly. That is always in the back of my mind is creating some more people that are aware, and if we can teach them at a younger age about this type of event, then it doesn't matter if it's Relay for Life or what the event is, but hopefully they'll get out there and make a difference somehow, some way.
So March 7th, and we'll know whether you won or lost by the time a lot of people see this. You're also a social studies teacher, and talk a little bit about teaching social studies now in the classroom. What kind of challenges do you have, and do you think things are easier or tougher today?
You know, it's a catch-22 situation. You know, you talk to people and say, "Man, I don't know how you do it. It just isn't like the old days in the classroom." And
Well, that's true,
right?
probably.
Right. But there's other people that say, "Man, you have a lot at your disposal now." Every one of our students has an iPad, for example. So the technology piece that keeps advancing and keeps getting better and better and better, and we happen to be a district that's fortunate enough to have some of those tools at our disposal, and that definitely helps our cause tremendously. So if I had to answer that question, you know, yes, it's different, but it's different in a different way, and so I think part of teaching is being flexible and being able to adapt to your situation and what your students bring to the table. And every semester there's a whole another 100 faces giving me new challenges, but I love every day of it.
So how have you adapted with the technology then? I mean, there's a lot available, but teachers really have to change the way they've taught.
Certainly. And boy, that is a challenge. There's no question about it. I have a 4th grade daughter and a 7th grade daughter, and when Dad has questions about the iPad, he immediately goes home and asks his 2 daughters, and they know exactly how to do whatever I need done on that thing. But yeah, it's definitely a challenge for some of us teachers that have been around previous iPad, previous technology things, but again, that's the life of a teacher. You're always adapting, you're always being flexible, and you're always going for and try to strive for what is the next piece that's going to be good for your students, and they're going to be able to get something out of it.
What do you tell people about just being a teacher? Why does a person make a decision to be a teacher?
For me, it was my role models with that I had when I was in school. Man, I had some great teachers and some great coaches, and I just decided early on in my college career, trying to figure out what the heck I wanted to do with the rest of my life, that teaching was going to be probably where I wanted to go, and I took an intro to teaching class, and got accepted into the education department at Western Michigan University, and the rest was history. And boy, I don't regret it. It's been a great profession for me, and I love every day in the classroom.
So what does it take to be a good teacher?
That's a great question. I think everybody's a little bit different in that. I think the relationships that you build with kids, you know, this is social studies, and there is definitely that aspect of building a relationship with a student, and obviously some kids come with a lot more on their plate than others, but it's always a challenge to try to get to that kid that, hey, nobody's really been able to get to that kid, and I always kind of take it on as a challenge to myself of, you know what, I heard you haven't handed in a lot of assignments in your career. I'm going to see if I can get you to do a little better job, or pass the class, or whatever their goal is. You know, I have the kids set a goal at the beginning of the semester, and some kids are really blunt and honest and say, I don't have a goal, and I don't want to do anything in here. Just get me through, or whatever it is. And I kind of seek those kids out and say, hey, let's try to narrow this down and come up with something a little bit better, and hopefully by building those relationships up, I can make a difference.
So you obviously have to think about all the kids that come in, but you've probably got some real high-performing kids
Sure.
who want to be motivated
Sure.
and continue to excel too.
You bet. And that's kind of where our advanced placement classes come in at the high school. I'm fortunate enough to be able to teach a United States advanced placement history, and it's a great class. It's a college class, basically, with the safety net of high school. But those kids that are college bound and are wanting to get challenged in that, you know, whole nother level, those AP classes are where it's at. And fortunately enough for us here at Charlotte High School, we've got a lot of those offerings, and so those kids tend to go to that direction, and tend to go to those classes. And when they're not in there and they're taking Mr. Crossman's regular U.S. history class, there's usually a phone call home to the parent to say, hey, I think Jimmy needs to be challenged a little bit, and he needs to take an advanced placement class. So.
Yeah. So because you want to get young people to stretch themselves
Sure.
a little bit, and advanced placement is something where they can really earn credit and high scores and feel a sense of accomplishment. you probably had that experience.
Yes, I have, and that's a huge part of AP also, is those kids that, I mean, a lot of them, they don't think they can do it. They're like, oh, I don't want to take that. That's hard class. I don't want to be challenged like that. I want to just ride out my high school career here and just leave me alone. But once they get done with those type of classes, and they really, it's a huge sense of accomplishment, because they have really had to bust their butt for a semester, or, you know, in our case we have 27 weeks with them to get them ready for, again, that test in May, like you're talking about, to be successful on that. And if they are, they earn college credit, so that's another positive that the parents really enjoy too, especially the cost of college education.
So what do you do with the advanced placement kids? Is there something that you, some system or formula that you really sort of say, hey, this is how I have to push kids to succeed?
Sure. You know, it's a college class, and that is a push enough, because so many of these kids have never seen anything lower than an A in their life. And then they take an advanced placement class, and I'm usually the first time they take an advanced placement class, because it's mostly 10th graders. And most of our AP classes are set up for 11th and 12th graders. And so I kind of have to break them in, so to speak, on what it's like for advanced placement. And some of them, it is very, very difficult to make that transition, because, again, they've never seen a grade lower than an A, let alone a C or a D for the first time. And so it kind of takes that coaching, if you will, not only of the kid, but of the parents and everybody involved in the system, to just say, look, this is I pose it to the parents like this when they want to know. I say, remember that very first college class you took? What did you get in that class? And usually they step back a little bit and, well, you know, it was all right, but then it kind of clicks to them that, wow, yeah, that's right. My kid is kind of going through that right now as a 10th grader in high school, and not a freshman in college yet, but it gets them ready for their college career, that's for sure.
Because for people who don't know, the AP sort of series is not the Little League. It is really advanced placement, and they have to score in comparison to everybody else across the state.
Correct. And not only the state, but in the nation. This is a nationwide test, just like you would take for an SAT or an ACT. And you're scored against your peers. So it is. It's very difficult. It's very challenging. But if they're going to do something that gets you some college credit, they're going to make it challenging and difficult. And that's one of my jobs in that class, is to get them ready for that test, and hopefully get them the score that they'd like, so they can get that college credit.
And how have we done in the past? You always look back and say, gosh, I should have done this, or I should have done that. Have you done pretty well, or is there something that we're missing in those advanced placement that you'd like to do?
You know, those advanced placement classes, I like to say, they are what they are. I mean, you can tweak some things, but that's something that is a long before Mr. Crossman ever came along, process and system, and I just try to fit into the system, get the kids to fit the system, and then hopefully, again, be successful on that test. But obviously, there's more to the AP class than just taking a test. There's no question about it. But the end goal, of course, is to get them that college credit, and that's how AP judges, is that test at the end. And if you do well on it, you get the credit, and if you don't, you don't. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh yeah, my kids all get 5s on that AP. No,
because realistically, it's very competitive.
It's impossible, because they take a certain, only 20% of all kids that take that test get a 5, and that's it across the nation. So for them all to come out of Mr. Crossman's class at Charlotte High is not going to happen ever. But again, we're always striving to get as many kids as possible to be successful, and to be successful on that exam, and then hopefully that transfers to their college careers, and they don't go home after the first semester of college going, Mom, Dad, this is way too hard, I'm done. Hopefully they come away with, you know what, I've seen this before, I'm comfortable with this, I can handle this, and let's go.
But in the many things that you do, AP is one part, but you're also a coach. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Boy, I've had a variety of experiences here at Charlotte High School when it comes to coaching. When I first got here, of course, sitting in the teacher interview, one of the questions the principal always asks is, well, what else can you do besides teach? And, of course, at that time, I had basketball coaching experience, and I had some baseball coaching experience. And so the next thing I knew, I was the JV girls basketball coach and the freshman baseball coach. And that started my career here at Charlotte. And to be honest, I've been coaching ever since here. It's just, again, when I was in high school, I was involved in a variety of different sports, looked up highly to my coaches and just thought the world of them. And again, when I got out of high school and trying to figure out what I want to do for a career, hey, if I could be a teacher and a coach and be like what some mentors had been for me, I would have. I felt like, man, this I could live with myself and be that and feel real good about it.
And a lot of young people learn a lot of different things in being involved in athletics, but you're probably competing with video games and their attention for a lot of other things.
Sure.
So it's kind of a different world than maybe when you and I went to high school.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. There's no question about that. I mean, you see it in the classroom all the time. Those kids that are heavy into the gaming and heavy into the videos and all that stuff. And that just wasn't even an option for you and I. And boy, it's not only an option; it's a reoccurring nuisance, I'll call it, sometimes in my classroom because again, students have that technology piece right in front of them all the time. And sometimes it's an incredible tool to enhance my classroom and whatever I'm teaching, and other times it's not. It's a distraction and it's gets them kind of off task. And so you really have to be. That's a new entity to teaching too, is monitoring their technology that is just it is what it is in this day and age, and you just have to again be flexible, embrace it, bring it into your classroom. Use it, but also have the ability to monitor it and make sure that it's being used properly.
Yeah. Well, Brent, as we close, a final plug for the game one more time.
Certainly. Hey, March 7th, we're going to have the Hoopin' for a Cure, the 7th annual. Get your t-shirts. They're $10. $5 directly goes to Relay for Life in the American Cancer Society. The game is at 6 o'clock. There's going to be a variety of different events happening. After the first quarter, we're going to do half-court shots, and if you make a half-court shot, you'll win a pizza. And at halftime, we have the drum line and the flag corps and the dance team and a variety of different acts that are going to be there to kind of help us get through the halftime festivities. And at the end of the third quarter, I have a autographed Tom Izzo and Susie Merchant basketball that we're going to raffle off too. So we'll have some raffle prizes going. And then again, to wrap up, we'll have a concert in the lobby. And we're just looking for a great night to raise awareness for cancer research, and hopefully one of these days Mr. Crossman won't have to do one of these games because we found a cure.
Well, it's a great challenge and it sounds like a lot of fun, but more importantly, let the record show, you said the teachers have never lost.
That's right.
So
that's
hopefully
right.
this won't jinx
exactly.
that.
Yeah, exactly. I might be coming back and biting my words on this one. That's absolutely correct.
Well, Brent, thanks for being with us. I'm Bob Colt, and we'll continue our conversations in Charlotte Public Schools.